Hello, everyone. I'm Cynthia Myers Morrison, and I am your host for the Food Addiction Institute interview of Laura R., who is a food addict in recovery, and she will share with you her journey. Thank you, Laura, for being with us today.
Thank you, Cindy, for your gracious work and service to this very, very troublesome, difficult cause, food addiction. Um, okay, my name is Laura, and I currently live in central New Jersey. And I have finally found peace with compulsive eating. I have always been a compulsive eater. I have always turned to food for comfort. As a little girl, I remember sitting in the high chair in heaven, playing with macaroni and spaghetti and making my mother very happy that I was eating. I was chubby to begin with. I think I was a 9 pound, 8 pound baby. My mother never let me forget that. I was also breech. She never let me forget that either. Um,
Not
And
an
so whatever made her happy. Sorry.
not an easy beginning for either of
No,
you.
no, no, no.
Do you
And
see
my mom,
yourself?
my mom,
Oh,
yes.
1 second. Do you see yourself as a food addict also?
Oh, definitely, which
Okay.
I will use that term. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Though, okay, yes. So, growing up, it was my mom would comfort me with candy and so forth. And then I started eating compulsively. As a little girl, 4 or 5, I would stand at the pantry stuffing cookies in my mouth because there was turbulence all around me in the family, and it just quieted I didn't know what else to do. So I reached for the food. That's really the truth. I can't say I was aware of feelings or anxiety, but I would stand there just shoving it in. And so the pattern began very early on. And I started seeing consequences very early on. I, in fifth grade, sixth grade, I was having big root canals, extractions. The dentist pleaded with me to brush my teeth better, and I agreed with him. However, I didn't go to, I never stopped eating. So I didn't know how to brush my teeth. He would say, well, before you go to sleep, I said, okay. And I brushed them, I listened. But then, of course, I would go back for more food and I'd fall asleep with food in my mouth. Um, Never thinking, now this is, of course, many years ago, never thinking, never hearing, never noticing, but I sensed that my body was different. In grammar school, I started comparing to other, girls, and I thought, oh, my thighs are rubbing, I'm pudgy. Um, and I started isolating, and I started becoming less and less social because the food was my lover, my comfort, my friend. Though it started again rearing its ugly head, the consequences, because due to the fact that I was alone, I wasn't socializing, I wasn't preparing to date, all the developmental steps that a young woman or even a man, of course, or anybody would start in puberty. I started to realize I have a problem with food. And there came the dieting. About 13, 14, I remember going to the luncheonette, which is what they were at that time. And you'd sit on a stool. And I thought, oh, I'm going to order something healthy. So I ordered tomato soup and crackers. So I got two packages of the little Ritz crackers. And I thought, well, that's not quite enough crackers. So I had the soup idea, but I asked for more crackers. So I realized I couldn't stop eating the crackers. And he gave me, because I think maybe 6 packages, and there went the soup idea because I couldn't stop eating the crackers to go in the soup. There wasn't even soup, but the crack. I'm laughing. Not fun. I mean, uh, I know it's not amusing to those that are struggling. It's really a very, very difficult journey. Um, until I reached the point, I'm sort of taking a little shortcut here. Um, I started trying different modalities, Weight Watchers. I couldn't understand what they were talking about. Weighing seemed very complicated on their points. I don't know if they had points. I don't remember. And went to the diet doctor. I was 14, 15, and of course I was prescribed. This was 1960 with 61 diet pills. Oh my God, they were magic. They were magic. I was in heaven. I not only stopped eating, I started talking to everybody. I was enthusiastic about life. I'm sorry, I didn't shut my phone off. Um, and then, of course, like every other medication, I had to stop. And um, no shame here, but I had a nervous breakdown and I wound up in a psychiatric hospital. The crash was just unbelievable. It was brutal, the crash of diet pills. So there went that, gained all the weight back, then some, which is a pattern that one hears constantly. We lose it, then we gain back, and we gain more back. It's a very progressive problem, journey, issue, disease, whatever someone is comfortable. I call it an ism. Um, and a lonely journey because in that era there wasn't much help. Um, now, unfortunately, I will say that it was the 60s and it was lots and lots and lots of free love, free this, free that, free drugs. And I will say I tried yeah, speed. I Now, after having a breakdown on diet pills, I was convinced that speed might be different. It's not diet pills. So, so we use the word denial or rationalization, and and of course I got addicted to that and very ill, and so I lost about 2 or 3 years of my life with that. Precious years of adolescence were gone. There are a lot of losses along this path, a lot of losses of parts of myself, parts of what my experiences, lots of losses with people that wanted to help me and I turned away. Um, and there came the food problem all over again. I went to Jenny Craig just started. I tried that. And I think part of the journey is I needed to try everything for me. And perhaps that's not necessary now because there's so much free advice, discussion, acknowledgement in our country that obesity is prevalent and um, the shame factor is probably maybe I'm hoping not as horrific. It was very shameful to be heavy, very depressing. I was 200 pounds after I stopped smoking, and this is 1980. Smoking was another crutch to help me stop eating. It didn't work. Don't smoke, people. Then I had two problems, smoking and food. Um, and once I stopped smoking because I was getting sick, constant coughs, colds, and pardon me, allergy, pardon me. Um, So I went to a program that was offered through Red Cross or Smoke Enders, and through the program, I was able to stop smoking, and out came the binge eat. For me, it was binge eating, but I was still able to moderate it. But I moderated it up to 200 pounds. And I tried mindful eating, I tried meditation, I tried everything by then. My thighs were rubbing. I was in terrible, terrible pain. It was the summer. I remember this clearly. And I thought, oh, dear Lord, what am I going to do? And what did I do? I went to the day-old bakery. I wouldn't even be good enough to myself to buy fresh. There was a day-old bakery and where I lived at that point, and I would stock up and 200 pounds or not, thighs rubbing, oh, painful. And I would sit with a knife and fork, uh, eating cakes. And I would swear I wasn't going to have another bite. I would wrap it up, throw it in the garbage, put garbage on top, and then lo and behold, I'd be back picking through the garbage. So I think it's fair to say that I had a food addiction. I was just addicted to this stuff, and I never saw a way out. I never saw freedom. I just felt compelled, um, depressed, hopeless, helpless. The cravings, I would try. I really tried. I have mentioned that I tried just about every program there was, and a friend or an associate, an acquaintance shared that she had a problem and went to a 12-step program. I'm not promoting whatever, but for me, a 12-step program began the journey of hope. Um, and uh, I started going to meetings. I started going to doctors, addressing, wow, I have another toothache. Oh, so instead of eating, I think I'll go to the dentist. Oh, my feet hurt. I think I'll go to a foot doctor. Um, and I started the long road for me, it was a very long road of recovery. I will, I'm now at a, I have been at a very decent weight since 1981. Um, Not that yeah, I mean, it is about weight because I was getting prescriptions for high blood pressure oh my goodness, things were really going wrong in my body. And I was young, so I can't imagine what it would be like if I'm at this point and heavy. The body no, I don't want to quote an author, but the body, my body, I'll speak for myself, cannot do well at all with extra weight. I've beaten it up so badly that I don't really have much tolerance and resistance. I have to take very good care of myself. And that's another process that I had to learn called self-care. And when I was introduced to self-care, I thought, well, this is very selfish. I'm not supposed to put myself first. Aren't I supposed to put my daughter first? Aren't I supposed to put that one? I mean, I'm not supposed to say no to something. Do it. And then I learned, no, if I have nothing left in my water cup, I drink a lot of water. I drink tons of water. Then there's nothing to offer. My cup has got to be fill first. Then I can help. Then I can offer myself. I felt so, it was so difficult to say no at times. For the first few years of my journey in food addiction, I really kept my life very simple. I did not go, I went to a lot of meetings. They were relief just to hear. I knew I belonged. I heard people struggling the way I struggled, and there was no fee. Oh my gosh, I didn't have a $500 bill at the end of the year, and they were loving and kind, and I learned a lot. And as I said, I kept my life pretty simple. I had to learn how to shop. I had to learn how to weigh my food. They promoted that. They encouraged that. They, meaning the food program, which helps tremendously. And maybe some people do not have to go that route. Though the way I started weighing and measuring, I purchased a scale and put it on my kitchen counter. And I looked at that scale for 2 years. And I looked at it every single day in the kitchen until I was willing to start weighing and measuring. So that was my process. And perhaps, perhaps the door, it's very subjective what might work. However, the theme here is I needed to stop reaching for food. I needed to find a structure. I needed to find a way to help to relieve myself of that brutal monkey on my back. I also started helping people. I started offering my help in within the 12-step rooms, and maybe not, maybe a neighbor, maybe a friend. Um, and then I needed to think in terms of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and nothing in between. Well, that was horrifying. I never thought I'd survive. How do you go from breakfast to lunch and lunch to dinner and then nothing and wake up? That was very difficult for me. And I felt angry. I was not happy that I had to go through this process journey. However, the results, my sponsor pointed out how the results are so important to focus on. I was able to wear one size in a whole year. I was able to feel better about myself. I was able to smile and look at people in the eye rather than keeping my head down. Um, the food, once it was on a scale, well, that took time, but once I started becoming structured and regulated, perhaps disciplined is a big word. Uh, though my life started opening up, changing, I was able to read, I was able to study, I was able to be a friend to a friend. I was able to help my daughter. It was everything. It still is. I will skip. I'm watching the clock. I don't want to go on and bore anybody. But even today, my life, I'll give a little synopsis of I'm in the supermarket perhaps maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Once a month, I go to a farm where I buy my fish and vegetables. I never ate fish in my life until my sponsor or my friend said she loves fish. I thought, oh, what's there to love? Love fish. And in the morning, I do my cooking, and I was working full time for many years, so it is possible to work full time. I had a social life. I had friends. I went to dinner. I learned how to do everything. I had a major surgery that I got through with being clean, food wise. And it was a gastrointestinal surgery. And I'll share this, it's very important. After the surgery, the surgeon came in to see how I was feeling. And he said, well, one very positive outcome of the hope, one positive probability or prognosis is that you're thin. And because you're thin, we have a much higher chance that this surgery is going to work for you. And I thought, oh my gosh, wow, what, thin me? And yes, yes. And my gosh. So the benefits far outweigh whatever might be feeling to anybody as sacrifice or too much work, too much to do. To acquire the discipline, to acquire the quietness in my head from food addiction is priceless. It was worth every hard step that I had to take. I will not say it was easy. Now it's almost second. It's just what I am, who I am. We at the Food Addiction Institute hope that I brought you a good, hopeful, positive message about my journey. I hope you'll try. Uh, I know there are medications now that help a lot of people. Not, this is not about medication versus non-medication. I'm just so grateful I'm not online for those medications. I, I, I'm just so grateful. Um, so it can be done. Thank you for listening to me. Cindy, thank you for your hosting and gracious smile. And it was a pleasure.
Thank you, Laura. And it's always a pleasure to hear your story. And um, how how much time do you have abstinent from your triggers?
Now I have uh, 17 years. And prior to that, I had 15 years, had a little interruption. So many, many years.
That and you came back from the interruption
I came back from the interruption.
and it's possible to do that too. So
Good.
for,
Yes. Yes.
for anyone struggling, never give up, never give up. And it's not our fault that we have this issue with how our bodies address food and create cravings. But once we are free from the triggers, we have the kind of hope and resilience that you're demonstrating. And I know you have friends and activities and a life today that that's different than years gone by. So I'm so happy that you shared this today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.